and a really fascinating article at Forbes.com about Ruger's remarkable comeback. The last few years have been pretty good for the gun industry overall, but I mean, we have seen Ruger just, they had to shut down, they had to stop taking orders earlier this year.
When you have to stop taking orders because you aren't going to be able to make enough to keep up with demand, you know that you are really pumping out very, very popular products and that you're doing a good job at it.
Absolutely. So how did Ruger stage this remarkable turnaround?
Well, in 2006, the company was in a multi-year slump. Things were looking pretty bleak for it. Bill Ruger Sr., the creative mastermind of it for something like 4 or 5 decades. He had died a couple of years previous. They were in a transition period. They needed a new leader, a new CEO, and they found one in a man named Mike Pfeiffer. And Pfeiffer took command of the company a few years ago, and immediately he set out to figure out what customers wanted, because Bill Ruger Sr. didn't really need that. He had an innate knack for making guns and making products that people wanted to buy simply by making guns that he would want to shoot himself. So Pfeiffer went out. He went out behind gun store counters and he did a little undercover boss and queried customers to find out the guns that Ruger needed to make. And after that, there was a change in the manufacturing style of Ruger's 2 plants, one in Arizona, one in New Hampshire, and they wanted to cut down on inventory and quicken their production style. And it's really turned out to be an amazing story. And the success is the numbers. They're going to make over $3 million. They did make over $3 million last year, and they had $3 million in sales, and their profits are up to $40 million.
Wow, that's amazing. And as you were looking at Ruger and the industry as a whole, did you notice, Abe, new trends in gun ownership? I mean, it seems to me, and there's some dispute. The gun control advocates like to say there is no large number of female gun owners who are, new to gun ownership. But I got to say, I think they're wrong. I think we are seeing more women in particular become gun owners.
Oh, I completely agree with you. I've seen, I think, a Gallup poll and some other evidence, anecdotal and otherwise, telling me that more women own guns. I can tell you personally, in my family, one of the greatest disputes that we're having is who's going to get my grandmother's guns when she passes away. that doesn't tell you that there are women owning firearms. Nothing else will.
Yeah, no kidding. And so do you see the, not just for Ruger, but again for the industry overall, do you see strong days ahead?
I think it's going to come down to what happens this election cycle. I think there's going to be at the core, the gun growth is going to be better than it was in the 1990s. In the 90s, you saw that real cultural shift away from guns. You had cities like New York that still hadn't been cleaned up, and you had a real cultural divide over guns. I think that's reversed itself largely, and you will see stronger growth than you did, say, in the early 90s when things were kind of bleak. But are you going to see the big boom years we had in 2008, 2009? I'm not really sure. That depends on who becomes president in the next month.
Do you think it's more likely if Barack Obama is reelected that we would continue to see those strong sales? I mean, he's talked about he put it on the table, calling for a gun ban in his second term.
Yeah, I was watching the debate the other night, and when he said that, immediately flashed back to all the reporting I did for this story and got me thinking. I think you'll see a spike again in sales if Obama's elected. Biggest sales day in gun history by far is Black Friday in 2008. 2 or 3 weeks after Obama is elected.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw strong sales Black Friday this past season. Well, and I'd like to think that. Even with perhaps a Obama defeat on Election Day, that we'll see strong sales Black Friday this shopping season as well.
I think we'll see good sales, but I think we'll have even more of a upward trend if President Obama wins re-election.
Yeah. What do you think? How important is this issue in the election? Obviously the NRA is spending a lot of money. They're on the air in battleground states this week trying to get gun owners to the polls. Is this going to be an issue now that Barack Obama has said, I'd like to see a semi-auto ban in a second term and maybe do something about handguns as well. Is that something that we should see an impact at the polls on Election Day?
Is going to be, we can see that exit data when they come out, and you can see the main issues they voted on. The main issue is the economy in this election. But will the idea of guns and possible additional legislation not going to weigh on some people's minds? Absolutely. I can tell you that there are members of my family who have been stomping around the house for the past few months because they're afraid that an Obama reelection can mean for the gun legislation, and that they won't vote for Obama because of that. But that's in upstate New York, and I think that will affect some demographics. But bigger issue here is the economy.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, Abe, thanks so much for coming on the program tonight, sir. Great talking to you. Hope we can do it again.
Oh, no. Thank you for having me on, and I'd love to join you anytime.
Thanks so much.
All right. Take care.